You just need me to, you say so. All right, I would like to call this meeting of the Building Committee for the Public Safety Complex to order at 12:02. The first item on our agenda is public input. Do we have any public input? No public input. Our next item is the approval of minutes from the July 16th, 2025 meeting.
So moved.
You have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those nay? Ayes have it. Minutes are approved. Our third item on the agenda is discuss and act on the development of the public safety complex, including but not limited to proposed designs, assessment plan, location. And I think we just met a little bit with Doug and Scott, Chris and Ben and myself that we'd like to start with the location. Because I know we had talked a month or so ago about airport and having a secondary location to move some pieces of equipment that didn't necessarily need to be in the new building all the time. So I think, I guess, Amy, that's a question for you, was in terms of, I know we had talked about the airport is up there. Do you need this one?
We'll just, that's all right. You can keep that one. So we still don't have any indication from RIAC that that's going to be a viable plan. So I would really caution people to not make that an integral part of any decision-making process.
Mhm.
I do think we had talked about potential other secondary locations as a down the road possibility. May also include the transfer station, but that's also a very much a to be determined element. I have one point, but I want to go backwards first. I guess I do have a concern about that many people of the committee meeting outside of a meeting, because that feels like a quorum, at least in a majority, if not a quorum.
Good point.
And then it just leaves some of us uninformed.
Mhm.
So if we can do meetings like that are on site as an entire group, I think it would be really helpful. So just if I can add that. And then, as we talk about proposed designs, I would be really hesitant to make those designs contingent upon having a secondary location, because we don't have a secondary location secured. I think we need to build it for our current equipment load and our current and expected needs. And to the extent that we may be able to down the road offload to a secondary site, that frees us up with additional capacity, but I'm not sure I would design today without a site secure. But, we can discuss.
The thought on the secondary site, which doesn't sound like it's viable right now, that cost per square foot, if we were able to move two pieces to a secondary site and what it costs to build that, and that savings on the larger building at the station, if that offset would be worth it, but not having a place to do that. So it kind of answers that question. That was the direction we were looking at, plus not having all the equipment at one site if there should have been a catastrophic situation at the station. And we do have some equipment off-site, but in a perfect world, that would be great. Otherwise, we do have a plan that we can look at that keeps everything in one location. I apologize for the meeting before the meeting. I just thought we haven't gotten together in quite a while, and we kind of like put everything out on the table. No secrets. And again, I apologize for that.
As do I, because we had all gotten busy during the summer and our July meeting was not very productive, and we're trying to keep the balls rolling.
Yeah, do we wanna look at some plans right now that we have put together, some thoughts we can lay out on the table? Is that on the
Mhm.
agenda?
Yep, certainly is. Mr. Michelle.
Um. Yeah, look at them all at once, you probably have to stand up or we steal pieces table.
Definitely, excuse my table.
We bring it, well, somewhere we can all gather around the table.
You all wanna stand up, look at it, you see it. I'll walk it over and show you.
Can you look at here, you have enough room? Is that okay?
This is,
Yeah.
on the fire
Well,
station
we
side.
can just put it here.
Well, you get.
They've seen it already.
Have you seen- come on. Oh, okay. Hey,
Okay, good. You happy with this?
No.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, good. I'm sorry.
No, nothing has changed other than this Doug is drawing this up a little smaller. Yeah. But it seems to fit in, and then. Doug, can you lay out the other map that shows the building itself where it sits on the property? So these here, the heavier trucks, the large trucks, come out towards the power company. And then the rescues will be coming out the way they come out now on the top. Yep. Okay. And this will kind of, when he makes this out, make a lot of sense.
So which is the first floor, which is the second floor, and what's,
The bottom floor is all the fire plants, all the full ones.
and they open up towards,
Ocean Avenue, there's power company. And the rescue is on top, and they will exit the same way they do now. And the difference in the plans are, this has 5 bays on the top of the rescue and 2 here. And the footprint's the same, and over here. It didn't seem to have enough room for what Scott was suggesting for all the inside stuff. So this one has 4 rescue bays here and 3 here. Which leaves a lot of open space here if these aren't used, a lot of
this is
open
an
space here
alternate.
and here. Yeah, it's either this or this. Going straight across didn't give enough room for anything for storage or anything like that. So either these, and then this allows this for storage and stuff, this on the bottom floor. And this one with this configuration, it's a much smaller free space. So the rescue is at the level of the asphalt up top right now, and this is at the level kind of at State Road. Within their slopes. And as far as where you are right now. There's a building right now. The building lot goes all the way to here. And this is that separate piece that the town has. So this lot goes all the way down here. I don't see any concerns with zoning setbacks. Building height you'll have to watch. And these came from the putting on the building for the
The telecom building.
yeah. And these are setback on the map that Jeremiah put on there. And I don't know, I can assume that maybe this is what they gave the town permission to, you know, you can come to here. But we haven't rechecked with them, we still have to go to coastal, no matter what we do. But I was much relieved to see that the area is there. And then to scale, these are the 2 buildings. The rescue's gone, you know, they want this back somewhat. So probably have to go something like that to be built. Or it goes something like that. To be built. And one of the concerns you have to watch out for is your slope of your state road. Sure, I'll be.
So you're gonna carve out that whole hillside, dig down?
Yes, that would be the plan. Out on the level of the road.
This, if engineering can make it happen, however the setback is, et cetera. If you could fit in here and we're able to keep the rescue building where it is for now, we'll stay where we are. As construction's going on, we're not disturbed too much.
So this would be a major retaining wall here.
It'd be a foundation wall,
Well, it's a retaining wall,
full foundation.
but this is a slope and you're gonna cut this, you're gonna make it into a basement basically, right? So you have a lot of area to retain. Here too.
I think it's all gonna go back against the foundation.
Now, what's the difference in elevation between here and two?
That's the thing there, it could be anywhere, it's hard to read if it's between 8 and 12 feet.
So this is a retaining wall because the building's gonna be at this level. Correct, or maybe a little bit higher.
Whatever.
Well, that level will be where the trucks exit, the level of the top of the foundation is gonna be more at this level, top of the foundation is this level. This will be like the exit down below in the truck. It's a 2-story building.
Right. All I'm saying is, grade right now, you're gonna dig down,
Yeah,
so this can be down below, right?
correct.
Dig into the hill,
Right,
dig into the hill.
right,
The building's gonna set back, so you have approximately a 40-foot area here, for fire trucks to pull out of the station,
Mhm.
close the doors behind them and not impede on the sidewalk. I took an elevation of the grade here
mhm.
versus the asphalt on the road, it's approximately 14 feet.
So that's,
So the station will be about 14 feet. So it's gonna stick up out of the ground. The first story
right,
approximately to the foundation height of the ambulance building today,
right.
and then your second story.
And what, all I'm saying is, this is 14 feet higher than this. So when you dig down here, this wall and this wall, and maybe this wall, all become retaining walls, which they're not just plain foundation.
This particular wall, to your point, and then coming up here a distance will probably be into the ground a distance, cross wall, whatever the case may be. And then you're right, that is coming up.
14 feet,
Exactly.
yeah.
We are so early in discussions. Doug brought up a good point that if with the road grade dropping, if there was a need to put a step in the building and have 2 different floor heights, we could do that too, to make things work. If I could, when it's appropriate for me to speak. I kind of want to kind of bring everybody up to speed.
And this L in the back is for double loading.
No, storage, no doubles. Not gonna have a fire truck behind another fire. But that's for storage, we need, based on Scott did an analysis of what we need for storage, for training rooms, etc. For fire and rescue, and this space, in this space, pretty much gives us that footage that we need. The other diagram, there's not enough open space for all the storage and all the other needs.
It's 52 by,
Almost 7.
no, I'm just looking at the storage space.
Oh.
52 by 20.
That's about 2,800 feet.
Yes.
And this up here is 56, 57.
It's a lot of expensive space.
It's got it all marked out for what needs to go in it.
There's a lot of guidelines that we need to go by. We need to have dormitory rooms. We have to think towards the future of having cross-trained fire rescue, whether they're from the island or they will commute from the mainland and the seasonal, during the height of the season, to take the load off the volunteers. And the volunteer system across the country is thinning at a rapid pace, and we have to be prepared for that.
So like Scott said, 2 things to help. I mean, one of the limiting factors is the grade on the road. If you're looking at the building, you're gonna be high here, low here. So if this part of the building, say you step down 1 or 2 trucks, it just has a step down, probably a firewall in the middle, so you don't lose everything in case there is a fire. And then the ones lower will be closer to the getting out on the road safely. This is your topo. Jen Lee was very helpful yesterday in making these things for us. So. those small maps are not to scale.
These are not,
But this is showing the topo with vegetation. How everything is.
So right now you're showing just two different options. Is that right? Between this one and that one there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is the advantage of this one?
It's,
More space.
it's less square feet, but you don't have the same storage
Very
space
statement.
for other things. I mean, laid out. The length this way is 124 feet. That allows 17 feet for each truck. You've got like 7-8 feet between the mirrors of each truck to get through. You've got 14-foot doors. What Scott's suggesting, 14-foot doors upstairs and downstairs. So basically, it's the fire storage which is driving the length of this building.
Ask another question.
Um,
Can I answer your question?
yes,
Between the two designs, I understand there are different space availabilities. Do both of those require that the rescue barn continue to exist so that the total meets our needs? Or does the new building meet the space needs by itself and this then becomes additional?
If I could. To the chief's point, the thought is the ambulance building can stay where it is during construction.
Okay, then it still
Yes.
goes with later.
Can we fall back on our alternate that we spoke of many
Then-
months ago,
Yeah.
possibly moving that next to the police station to add square footage to the police station if they desperately need. One of the concepts that Chief Hobie has been pushing, he'd like to move the ambulance building and then utilize that corner for parking. For the people going into the fire station for emergencies and the like. If that could work out for him, great. If not, if we have to push the building into where the ambulance building is today, then we have to look at an alternate location for the ambulances. During construction.
well, now, if this building stayed. And could that serve the purpose of this space here?
That's only room, this building has only got room for 2 vehicles. So it doesn't.
So
have
this,
the room.
these aren't having vehicles, it's storage, they said storage and,
But this is the first story.
Yeah.
That storage is the first story,
right, and the second story
is over here.
but there's no vehicles. Right,
There is vehicles, the ambulances are up here, and then there's an area of storage.
well, it's up here, but not in, that's.
So if I understand your question.
My question, yeah,
If I understand your question, can we renovate the existing ambulance building for the office spaces that are,
right,
it's a question.
I think it might be less expensive to do that and then put an addition on the police station.
And put an additional police station,
Yeah.
it's a possibility of it.
And take this off,
Sure. Well,
because this is very expensive construction.
but if I may, you just said take this off.
Right.
You can take that off the first floor. But what are you gonna do on the second floor when you have the rescues that are supposed to be going over that? Where are they gonna go now?
I thought the rescues were over there.
Here and here.
It allows for future expansion with 3 more doors here. For whatever can fit there.
The vehicles that they have between the non-transport vehicles, the pickup truck and the ambulances.
I just know that in every aspect of the town, we have no storage. And I can almost guarantee you,
We have a layout of what is needed in the square footage, and that fulfills it.
You should know.
Do you have any looks?
Yes, 2 million.
If I could, just kind of bring everyone up to speed, Scott Kittel. And if I speak out of turn, please, Chief, stop me or Amy, stop me. We started into this project kind of officially this past January and started down a path. Historically, There were people here in the community that had ideas on how to make this work and what could happen. The renderings that were once completed of a building there being a 3-story building with fire trucks going out to Ocean Avenue, rescues coming the opposite direction, and 3rd story for offices, sleeping quarters, whatever the case may be. That was an option on the table. We, committee people, we looked at the ultimate cost of that construction, materials and the like, and truly felt the community was probably not going to support that kind of an investment. Thank you, sir. That kind of an investment. We identified, as I had said previously in meetings months ago, the chief of the fire department has a genuine concern of not having fire trucks parked behind one another in the event one doesn't start, in the event one needs to go first, depending on the type of emergency. He prefers single loading bays. I agree with him, understanding if the land will allow for it, then this single loading or single deep bays is a great option. As we looked at the number of bays that he needs for the resources on the island for fire or rescue EMS, they've come up with 7 bays for fire and then ultimately 7 bays for rescue. We spoke here in this meeting many months ago, my personal opinion of an alternate location, of a substation, to not have all your eggs in one basket. God forbid a fire was to ever occur or some type of emergency was to occur at the police fire facility. Can we get there and get a fire truck out before it's too late? What are our options? At that time, we spoke of the possibility of land at the transfer station. We spoke of what else is out there in town. There was a feeling that, there's a value to this, especially if we're not building another fire station. We're simply building a storage building. We're building a substation. We're building a storage building. We're building a garage, metal prefab building, perhaps. So the cost factors come way down. Meeting with the chiefs, Doug, Bill Rose, discussions that I've had with people, this is going to come in at a cost, this whole project. And if we're going to put together a package that is going to have that the town council and the townspeople are going to have an appetite to support, we need to be responsible in what we're putting forward in terms of a size of a structure and its capabilities and attributes. We spoke of those additional spaces that Doug has open right now in the plans that he put forth today. Just for everyone's knowledge, if you'll indulge me for a moment. On the lower level, behind the fire trucks that you see there, the chief and I have reviewed best practices in fire stations industry-wide. We've taken the plan books of other fire stations and gone through what is needed at this building in the Block Island, what is needed at this facility, and then how many square feet is needed in that particular room or area. A training room, a room for the fire rescue people to utilize for their training drills. We came up with a room large enough for 30 people, 500 square feet. So I don't know if this room is posted, but approximately the size of this room, give or take, 500 square feet. That's not too big. And Self-contained breathing apparatus compressor room, the air compressor to fill the air bottles, 80 square feet. That's 8 by 10. That's not a big room whatsoever. Decontamination shower, Arlene, you had spoken about that in the past. 120 square feet, 10 by 12, again, not very big. Storage, Mike, you just spoke of storage here now. Storage in the building, 200 square feet. Again, we're not talking much space. SCBA filling station, where the air compressor would put air into large tanks, and the tanks would be transferred into the tanks that are the firefighters wear on their back. 40 square feet. A room to maintain those self-contained breathing apparatus. It needs to be a clean room. It can't be just a room with tools in it that people walk in and out of, dust and everything else. 140 feet. A tool room for their tools, extra tools that aren't carried in the trucks. 40 feet. We're not talking much space. Hose drying area. When they've used their hoses at an emergency, they need to properly dry. 60 feet. A central supply for toiletries, janitorial supplies, and the like. 120 feet. Turnout gear storage. The turnout gear that the firefighters wear needs to be washed after it's been contaminated and needs to be properly dried. That storage room, 400 feet. And then a laundry for the turnout gear and any personal clothes that they may expose at a call, 160 feet. And then they're suggesting some type of a small workout area, gym area at 500 feet, coming up with 2,400 feet for that lower area. What Doug has proposed here, Doug, you said 2,800 feet is what you had there? Yeah, so what he's got built into that plan is decent. It gives us a little bit of play. The second story upstairs, the fire chief's office, 180 square feet. That's not very big. I can tell you North Kingstown, the plans that are being drawn right now for the new fire station and police station, both the police chief's office and fire chief's office were being slated at 240 feet. Chief Hobie feels 180 feet is sufficient for what he needs. File storage, 80 feet. Regular general storage, 40 feet. A conference room, 500 feet. EMS, 120 feet. EMS supplies, 120 feet. Alternate dispatch center, which was an integral part of this whole thing, was having an alternate dispatch center. God forbid something happens next door and they need a backup location, 400 feet. Communications, right now on the back of the station, Howell Connon's got an office there filled with their fire alarm equipment, radios, and the like, 400 feet. We took the measurements on what he had today. We had discussions with him, and 400 feet is what we came up with was necessary. Bunk rooms. We spoke, the chief and I have spoken at length about bunk rooms. You may not see a need today for people staying at the station, for people coming over here, whatever the case may be. The reality is, in the next 6 to 10 years, 5 to 10 years, Block Island is going to be hiring people from the mainland to come over here in your high times to serve on the EMS side, possibly on the fire side. So we came up with 110 feet, 110 square feet per bunk room and 12 bunk rooms, 1,320 feet. Now 12, you'd ask, why 12? Well, at the time that the chief and I were laying out the plans, 12 worked out for us. Now, we say 12 and somebody says, you're not going to need 12. Well, you know what? 2 of those rooms can be storage for now. 4 of those rooms can be storage for now. And you can always utilize them in the future. Bathrooms, 480 feet, ADA compliant. A day room for their members to congregate in, 480 feet. Kitchen facility for their people, 280 feet. Dining, pantry, not pantry, but a dining area just to sit, 200 feet. Pantry, 160 feet. Kitchen storage, 40 feet, for a total of 4,800 feet. What Doug has on that plan right there is 5,600 feet. I guess what I'm trying to report to all of you today, what Doug has put on paper there today has taken what Chief Hobie and I had built, has reduced it in size in a few areas in order to curb some square footage in an effort to save money, but still addresses the needs that Chief Hobie and I have addressed in laying all this out. You've got a plan right there from Doug that when we spoke this morning, and if you remember, Amy, you wanted myself, Doug, and the chiefs to get together and collaborate on this. We kind of all got on the same page. We are, I think, all in, and I think I can speak for you, we're in agreement with the concept of what Doug has proposed here. It follows not to the T those original renderings, but it follows the spirit of those original renderings with fire trucks going out the lower side, the ambulances going out the higher side, and we cut the third story off and save that money, that square footage and that money. It is my opinion, if I'm acting as a subject matter expert or as a consultant to all of you folks, it is my opinion, you're at a point now that bringing on an architect, engineer, bringing on someone to answer the questions now about the site and will the site support the building? Will our needs, the number of vehicles, these areas that we spoke of, does this all support where we're going? I appreciate what you had said this morning, Amy, about the airport. I guess I'm just going to say this. I've been doing this a long time. We as a group are going to put together a plan, and it's going to have a pass. The town council is going to have a pass to the people in the community when it's in the newspaper, and people are going to come out and they're going to, in all likelihood, say this is too big, it's too much money. With that said, if the airport property doesn't produce reality for a fire station, but if it produced a possibility for a storage building, a garage, if they would work with you in the future for a much smaller building just to put a couple of the trucks, then it's going to allow us to save some more money off this one. So that's, I guess, what I'm.
We still have to build that.
Certainly, no question. But that building, and as we just very briefly spoke this morning, a building, whether it's at the transfer station or up at the airport, a building of approximately 40 feet by 60 feet of a simple foundation with a metal prefabricated building doesn't require all the things that a fire station would require. It may not require the sprinklers. It may not require the full fire alarm system because of square footages and what's there. So I guess what I'm trying to say to you is we as a group are trying to look at providing you the most responsible package that you can take forward to the council, take forward to others, and we can continue moving forward.
Something like that might also be advantage to the airport corporation.
Certainly.
Because if there's another accident there, the fire
Certainly.
department's right.
And that's something we had talked about. But I don't want to digress on that. I wanted to put that on the table as if that was to, even if we stay with this site as our primary location, if there's a possibility of co-locating there in the future, it could benefit them, it could benefit us, and it could ultimately save us some money, if that was to come to reality.
Yeah, I just don't want to shortchange this.
No. No, and respectfully, today, September 17th, I'm recommending, as your subject matter expert, that what Doug has put forth here is good. And what Doug has put forth here, I feel, is worthwhile taking to the next level of perhaps an RFQ, and seeing what's out there for prices with architecture and engineering firms to come back and sit. So I'll try to answer any questions you may have, if they haven't already been answered.
I think this is actually, might actually be for Doug, but 5,600 square feet is the larger? For storage
It's off of his larger plan.
that's the storage areas or the operational areas. Do you know the operational area of the smaller design?
If I could, I think the smaller one should be a fallback plan and not necessarily something we spend even much time on today.
Do you have a guesstimate on?
Downstairs, 1,000 feet.
Okay.
And upstairs. $3,000 feet. Now, you don't take into account too, like the thickness of the wall, if the wall's a foot thick, it's gonna take a foot. Filling in the inside foot, I didn't
Yeah.
think of that, I didn't do anything structural. The other thing is, in both plans, you still also have room for storage racks in the back. So there are places where stuff can be lined up against the wall on both plans, on both levels.
Do you have any guesstimate on the overall budget price?
At this point, no. I can tell you that on the mainland, fire station, police station projects are going anywhere from 850 to a little over $1,000 a square foot. When you talk to people about Block Island, you hear double the price. You hear, I think Amy, you had said what, one and a third or one and a
We
half?
used to use a 30% markup.
30%.
Now we're closer to 50 to 60%.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
you know, I think for our initial discussion phase, if we were to say, you know, $1,600 a square foot or whatever the case, we may not be far off, but I don't want to speak to that because there's so many factors that go into this. I don't know. I don't have enough information. And that's why I think we're at the point we are about bringing in an expert.
It sounds like you have enough information to give a consultant as far as square footage and
I think we do. I really do.
for qualification.
Yeah.
It should be an RFQ, not an RFP.
Yep. So you've got some really good people here. Police and fire that are putting time and effort into it. Doug has done, this is probably his third or fourth different style and renderings that he's done. I think you have an idea of what you need. I think you have the information to share with that
Yeah. I mean,
firm.
There's some zoning issues and planning
Sure.
and zoning issues here.
Talking with Jen Brady yesterday, who's been so helpful yesterday. She had this stuff out before I even got into the office. But she's working on, if we're gonna rezone that to be a community public facility, they could rezone it. But also there was something, and I don't have the paper. Oh, wait, no, it's in here.
This thing isn't even close to exceeding zone. It's square footage by lot coverage. Right now, your allowable building coverage, you're allowed. Your building coverage will have to go up.
Yeah, building
Currently, you're 11% building coverage, you're allowed 16%. Your lot coverage, you're currently at 18%, you're allowed 30%. So you're almost within those limits. You'll have no problem with zone setbacks. Height may have to be adjusted, because, you're gonna have that steep drop off in the road. Up in the other part, you don't have a problem with the height, if you had to, which you're adding to the bottom here, you might have to raise the height. But,
You may have to put a step
say something.
a step horizontally in the building, because you're not supposed to go more than X amount of feet. I don't know what the number is.
We'll have to work on that. If you're trying to put in a job, it costs yourself a lot of money. Jobs are basically a waste of money. Oh, you want to go a little jogging, we can look, it's a waste of money. Here it's practical.
So the RFQ should say that whoever it is would be a part of their price to research zoning and planning and historical district.
Yeah, that language is in the draft. So I took what, if you want to move on to number 4?
I was gonna say, I think we did pretty much cover the proposed design, and as Scott had said, we've gone through the assessment of what we need for all of our buildings, and we pretty much have that set. So I think those are good. We should move on to discuss and act on an RFQ.
An RFQ, yes. So I took some of what Scott had provided and then our own templates and have reworked them basically into a document that's where the front and the back end are ready to go. What I need is that list that you read, Scott, in written form, so that we can outline for the professionals exactly what our requirements are. I will also intend to include a preliminary view of some of these designs, Doug, in terms of what we have identified that fits on the site. So if we can spend the next week or two trying to get these into a form that I can include, I think it would be really helpful. Meaning you have, in particular, have done so much work to figure out what fits on the site that having other people try to reinvent that wheel, I don't think is a great use of time, but if we but identifying a rough layout like this that meets our space requirements, fits the vehicles, and we think fits on the lot, although that needs further validation, is all what we would include.
So you look at side elevations,
No, even if I just took these and scaled them down, and then I think if I can get your scaled pieces onto a digital map scaled, that's kind of what I'd like to do is digitally take this and put it on here in a way that is appropriate, so that people can sort of see where we're already thinking.
well, these can run through your
Yep.
copy machine in the building department.
Yeah, but having this and then I have the originals of those, so I can provide the existing conditions.
Yeah, this has to go back to Jen.
Yep.
I mean, does it make sense to go at this, for this committee or who's our chair, to go to CRMC and find out if indeed we can plow out that hill?
I think it would be premature.
Well, if you're asking somebody to design for it, we have to know that we have the permission to do that.
Well, it's a little circular, yeah. But I don't think we don't have enough information to go to CRMC right now. We couldn't put together an application.
We didn't have time, excuse me, we didn't have time to look at it yesterday, but maybe Jen could look up in the file and see what that 125-foot line meant. So the only thing we did not discuss was roof shape or roof design. We just feel it should not be trussed, so it's open for future development for rooms and housing. So no plans to do that at the moment, but don't mess it up with a truss. And the other thing, my biggest concern with the site is the slope of the state road. I don't know if it's possible to have the town engineer, since he did this, to do, maybe he's got an hour or two, come out and say, let me look at the topos. I think this will work, or you're gonna have too much of a slope here. If he could take a little bit and maybe look at it, and that might help reassure those concerns. You know, not spending a lot of time, not doing a design, but coming out and saying, hey, you know, this is ridiculous, or hey, we can do it if we do a step down here.
And they didn't have to do that for any of the work, for any of the culvert work they did?
If I may, I think from my past experience, I think what you have here in front of you for information, what this group has produced over the last 9 months or more, is sufficient to bring somebody on board. I think, providing, as Amy said, that the center core of that RFQ so they have an idea. We're talking about a 2-story building with approximately 10,000 square feet per floor. We're talking about having some living quarters. We're talking about having some office space. Sharing that information allows that person who's considering bidding on this or providing their qualifications an idea what Block Island is looking for them to have an appetite to say, yes, I'd like to get involved in that and bid on that, or this is too big for me or too small for me. I'm not going to get involved with that. I think what you have in front of you, quite often, engineers, architects don't have any of this information. They don't have the size of the fire trucks. They don't have the number of vehicles and the like when they're starting out. So we've done a lot of work. Doug, Arlene's experience, what Doug has done here, what the committee's done, they've already done, I don't know how many percentage, but they've done a percentage of work for the architects to give them that front loading of information for them to have an educated guess or an educated thought to get off the ground with this.
Also, the RFQ should request similar projects.
Yeah, it does. So, I guess, Scott, you and I will coordinate on getting these materials together.
Yes, I will go back and I will put that together and send it over to you in a draft that you can,
Great.
finesse to make it work to your language and how you want it to appear so it coincides and meshes with what you've already done.
Great.
I don't know what the proper forum is here. But is it the committee to take a vote to empower Amy to put this RFQ out on the street, or do we have to still go back to the council for that, or?
I think procedurally, I think it's a good idea. I haven't decided exactly what the words will be around it for the council to see that draft RFP, whether it is for their information or for their input. I still need to spend a little time working through. But it does give us a chance to get that information out to them and to the public and start socializing those concepts. So I will have a better answer for that next time we meet.
I would ask you a question then, Amy. Do you feel that's something you're going to be able to handle from your office, or do you think that there'll be questions asked? So you're going to need to have drawings, today's drawings and stuff to share with that audience?
I think we will have these drawings as exhibits to the RFQ. So
I'm talking about to the council, to those people that you share the RFQ that you're going forward. Are we opening ourselves up to a lot of questions? I'm trying to figure out are you gonna need some of these people at a council meeting with you to sell it?
I need some of these people, but I'm not too worried about them being available, and I don't need everybody, but some.
I'm gonna ask again, are we doing a RFP or an RFQ? Oh, because we're using both.
I have a quick question. That 5,600 square feet, is that per floor?
No.
Is that like?
No, the 5,600 feet that Doug had illustrated there is on the second story, and then he had 2,800 feet on the first story. Because of truck location.
Say that again, the first floor.
Has an additional 2,800 feet
Roughly.
for office space and storage.
No, I'm just meaning that the larger plan, how many square feet is it per floor?
Total square foot per building? For the building, you mean? Per floor?
Sure.
Okay.
Well,
You have that, Doug? Approximately 10, right? Is that what you said?
where's 5,600?
That was in office space. That wasn't in the whole. building.
Oh. I got. So like how many square feet?
Yeah, we need to- Just give you a minute to talk about it. Can't do that.
This is, questions, would it be wrong? Thoughts? Take a vote, make a motion for Amy to go ahead with an RFQ. If it could happen before the next month, and give you the power to do so. Would you be comfortable with that if the committee took a vote on that?
Sure.
I would like to make a motion that we move forward to give Amy the authority for an RFQ.
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
I,
Opposed?
9,300 feet,
The ayes have it.
Approximately 9,300
Each floor.
feet per floor.
Thank you.
The depth of the building going front to back is based on the ladders. So that's why it's depth. So you're thinking, there's so much room behind the rescue vehicles. Well, these ladder trucks are setting the depth of the building. And then you have pump trailer coming in the future, it's even bigger.
Do we have anything else?
That's it.
Anybody else? Good. Have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? So all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed?
I want to thank Scott and Doug for the work they've done and.
Yes,
Yes, thank you.
thank you.